And so you join us for episode 5. In the last episode, we saw Oyaragh enjoy some lazy time in the anchorages of Vavau. But with cyclone season approaching, and needing to get below 30 degrees latitude before it does, it was time for Oyaragh to begin her passage south to New Zealand. We join her here now as she turns off her engine and begins the passage to Hapai.
Allez tout moun ka manje wash Et pi manye bay la ka oule ya Yon pou ki pa ka fon Siye mantolin Pa la pen ou balay klima sosyal.
Having set off at dusk the night before so as to give the best chance of a daylight arrival, the Oyaragh makes good speed despite light winds with her full sails, and the camera crew manage to capture these images by precariously lashing the point and shoot to the boat hook. Nice to see a good bow wave as Oyaragh is thrust through the ocean. The open hatch may indicate a cattery warning, and the blue canvas is the life raft. Feeling they're nearing the Hapai group, the crew send the cabin boy to the crow's nest to spot the islands. One of the crew takes a more relaxed approach to the sail. However, karma gets her in the end as the crew's flatulence is funneled into her cabin.
Well. Through the porthole, we have spied little Jessie, holding her big toe up to us, reading something on the iPad, enjoying a little chill out time in the old cabin, are you?
Yeah.
You've got iPad and Kindle, I see.
Oh yes, well I was actually just browsing some photos.
Underwater photos, I heard.
Yes.
And you've been complaining of kittens, I hear.
Funnel effect.
With the great vessel nearly at Hapai and the cabin girl gassed out of useful activity, the captain and the cabin boy set about dropping sail.
Okay, back on course.
The sail from Vavau took just over 24 hours, but the first day at sea is always the toughest, and the crew are ready for a break. So they take up anchorage just off Whakakakai, but anchoring is never as simple as it should be. Anchor secure, the crew set about BOA and get the first hint there may be bad weather approaching.
And here we are, we've arrived in Hapai after an overnight and day sail from Vavau Group. And we're setting down to drinks on arrival and bridge. The Mudgie's just come up, it's sunset. We've got a few boats around us, met a few of them.
Because nobody's listening to it. She's just given a forecast.
Really, did she?
We've got a forecast off Russell Radio off the SSB.
I tried to, but I couldn't get it because she was just giving the end of it. It was very unclear and it was relayed by Schoolhouse Bay or whoever it is relays for them. And the only thing I heard was very light winds.
Well, a very subtle hint perhaps, and those would be the famous last words. But with no immediate reason to panic, the crew enjoys some lazy days at this outer island of Hapai, and they even let the captain take a turn washing up. After the morning activities, the crew go ashore to explore the island, and the navigation officer finds that peeing ashore is more tricky than she thought.
She was trying to have a pee in the surf, and then a big wave came and knocked her over. And we've come ashore to see the fruit bats of Hapai and Tonga, and there they are, up there in their tree. You can just about see them, but they're all a bit stationary, so it's hard to spot.
After the trip ashore, the younger members of the crew swim back to the ship and take the opportunity to explore the sea flora on their way. And after returning to the great vessel, somewhat out of breath, the crew make preparations for the couple of hour sail to Pangai.
I think it's your turn.
The windlass, in effect a large winch for pulling in the anchor chain, is a manual control on the great vessel, and this causes exhaustion in the crew, particularly in the tropical heat, as they pull in the 30 metres of painstakingly heavy chain. At last the anchor is up and the Oyaragh sets sail.
Oh, when this old man comes to bed, hiding door and dark. Oh, when this old man comes to bed, me being young. When this old man comes to bed, he lays like a lump of lead. Mates when you're young never weds an old man, 'cause they've got
Favourable winds, the great vessel makes good speed towards Pangai, and the crew set about a rather lively breakfast in the cockpit. Breakfast aboard Oyaragh has become less palatable over the last few months, as the French Polynesian oats have developed a rather blue mouldy tinge and have a large quantity of insect life thriving within them. Nonetheless, this doesn't seem to put the older members of the crew off, and they continue to enjoy their breakfast. The great vessel arrives into Pangai and takes up an anchorage just outside the main port, and Jess for one seems to be rather pleased to have arrived.
Once was a cap from Catville, sing tra la 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 la. There once was a cap from Catville, sing tra la 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 la.
With the new anchor celebration performance complete and the great vessel safely secured, the crew go ashore to explore the windswept, sleepy town of Pangai. Initially, town seems deserted, but after a while the crew find shops and a market for resupplying, and even a local school wanting to put on a song for them.
Getting supplies. Happy.
That afternoon the crew get an updated weather report, and it seems there may be high winds approaching.
For the entire Tonga Tapu and Hapai area for later on today. So let's keep our fingers crossed that they're erring on the conservative side, and maybe it won't be as bad as what they're indicating.
So with news of a possible early season cyclone approaching, the captain commands his vessel to behind the breakwater at Pangai Harbour. Although not a uniformly supported decision by the crew, who were keen to continue with their snorkelling activities, this turned out to be the right move.
Here in the harbour in Pangai, riding out what they're now calling a cyclone on the radio at least. Angelini's just had breakfast, gone through the night, probably tops, 45? They were talking of 75 down on the Tapu. Fairly windy. 4 of us hiding out here. Not stopping morning yoga. We have 3 anchors out the front. All ground tackle. And even 4 anchors if you include the dinghy anchor, which we're using as a kiwi off the little one.
Well protected from the waves by the breakwater and supported by her 3 anchors and 4 ropes ashore, Oyaragh didn't budge an inch, and her and the 3 other vessels rode out the tropical depression at Pangai Harbour. The tropical depression never did get fully upgraded to a cyclone, but nonetheless caused trouble on the high seas, with one boat, Windigo, getting capsized and having to be rescued. Closer to home there was one vessel that didn't make it to harbour before the waves grew large enough and made the entrance unnegotiable. As a result, spending the night out in the bay, they didn't come to harm but had a fairly rough 48 hours of it, running the engine in an attempt to take pressure off the anchor and stop themselves being dragged onto the beach. It's often said that the correct time to leave for a passage is immediately after a cyclone or depression has moved through, as a period of settled weather normally follows. So with the depression moving away south, the crew make their preparations to set sail. wind finally abated, Oyaragh releases her 3 anchors and set sail, spending a first night at Oyaragh Island before heading on to Minerva Reef.
And here we are on the 10th of November, departing Hapai and Tonga. John popping up the staysail, all 4 sails out, doing 4.3 knots. Jenny listening to the weather and about to bake bread. Hi Jenny! And we've just left from that island over there in the distance.
This would be Oyaragh's longest passage since departing Galapagos in 2010. Over 1,000 nautical miles of Pacific Ocean lay between the great vessel and her destination of northern New Zealand, and after leaving the southernmost islands of Tonga behind, there would be only one point of refuge, Minerva Reef, a small coral atoll that lies entirely below sea level, but can offer some protection from the waves.
All little pickles feeling a little seasick. We're 1 day out of Hapai. We're on the 4th net-in check of the day. Margie just works like a little trooper down there, checking in all the time. This will take us to a purr by Minerva Reef very nicely, yes? Do you not concur?
But a rogue wave has had dire consequences.
The watermelon, really? Wiped out? I'm sorry, sir. They fell out of their car hammock onto the floor. They didn't stand a chance. There were no survivors. Well, that's not true. We've still got 3 watermelons there. That just means we're eating 2 watermelons right now, doesn't it, Munch Pudge?
Yeah, but there's just a limit to how much I can eat. I know I look like I can crop the whole planet of watermelon and pineapple. But the truth is...
Look at the 2 plates there, little Munch Pudge. The truth is...
I've got limits.
So the bottomless pit of a navigation officer saw off the damaged watermelon supplies, and the rest of the fresh produce seems to be meeting with a similar fate. With lightening winds forecast as the great vessel approaches Minerva Reef, the crew opt to anchor within the sunken atoll and take a few days of respite.
After 3 days at sea, we're all glad of a break. Doesn't look like there's going to be much fresh fruit on this island though, sadly. It being predominantly a metre below the sea level. We're going to find ourselves a 10-metre anchorage and chill out and wait for the weather to be good to do the rest of the trip down to a port.
Anybody coming for any of it?
Well, you join us here in North Minerva Reef. A 3-mile escape.
Piece of watermelon, that's clearly much bigger than mine.
A 3-mile escape from the ocean. No land, just a little reef all around it. And unfortunately, the trip across from Tonga, all 3 days of it, has had the most dire consequences. Almost all the watermelons have been eaten, or sadly a lot of them rotted, went bad, even fell out of the Oyaragh bra and smashed on the floor in 100 pieces. A very sad moment.
Sad times.
With fruit supplies dwindling, the crew go ashore to explore the reef.
Underneath the water, we are the same. We are the same. You find me in a calm, sleepy way, floating without breathing. You and me, we say, wordless understanding perfectly. We may come from a different place, but I know and you know that it's okay. Doesn't it feel good and doesn't it feel great? Our arms in the wind.
It's not known when the reefs were first discovered, but they've been marked on charts since the 1820s and took their name from the Australian whaler Minerva, which collided with southern Minerva Reef on 9th September of 1829. There are two Minerva Reefs, a northern and southern. The northern, being more navigable, is the one that Oyaragh chose to stop at on this occasion. Both are coral atolls built atop dormant seamounts and host a variety of sea life, including some larger tiger sharks. You see here the crew swimming with a variety of sticks in the hope to fend off any of these large predators. Modern history at the reefs have been rather unique. In the 1970s there was an attempt at making the Republic of Minerva. This would be a micronation consisting of both Minerva Reefs. In 1971, barges loaded with sand arrived from Australia, bringing the reef level above the water and allowing construction of a small tower and flag. In January of 72, the Republic of Minerva issued a declaration of independence to their neighbouring countries and even introduced their own currency. However, the declaration was met with great suspicion by their neighbouring countries, and at a Conference of Nations in 72, the Kingdom of Tonga's claim to the area was recognised. With the Declaration of Independence unrecognised, plans for utopia fell through, and the sea reclaimed the transported land. Today, Minerva is almost exclusively below sea level, but at low tide there are portions which can resemble dry land. Conversely, high tide brings the sea well above the reef, and the swell being not broken up makes the anchorage rather rolly. In recent years, heated disputes have existed between Tonga and Fiji over who has fishing rights to the area, and you can see here the crew being attracted by the same bait.
A school of sleeping, edible-sized parrotfish. The natural predators hunting them. There they go, scared away into the shallows. I'm going to herd them off from here. Matt's picked off a little weak one over there. Matt, there's a weak one separated from the pack. Whoa, look at them. Imagine a net just cast now. Look at that. Whoa. Whoa. Go for it, Matt, go for it.
That's insane. But they're like you. How cool is that?
Alas, lunch will have to wait till tomorrow when we come back with a spear gun.
With the tide rising, it was time to return to the great vessel.
Listening to the morning weather. Jess studying a little bit about weather in her OA book.
And finally, Oyaragh's sextant got some use.
None of us can remember how to use a sextant,
That's the
but we have at least worked out how to
What am I looking
look
at?
through enough
one.
lenses that we can look
And
at the
then-
sun
Yeah, and cover
during
your other eye, which other eye you're not using.
the solar eclipse that we're experiencing here in Minerva Reef.
And roses.
Look at the sun, yeah. But you'd expect it to be quite dark here, wouldn't you? Because the sun would be seen.
So with the sun and moon aligned, the cabin boy attempts to improvise a fridge for his final beer.
And here is Callum Donald popping some beers into the ocean at Minerva Reef for a bit of cooling.
Fishing. Not for fish, fishing for beer. Away they go. Down they plummet 14 metres to the cool ocean below. Damn it, they float.
They float. Oh no.
How are we going to do this? Final night in Minerva before we set sail down south.
So so with her crew well rested, the great vessel begins her final passage south. Join us for the final episode, where the crew sail south to colder climates and finally arrive at New Zealand.